Live. Hi everybody, good evening and welcome to my Zoom tonight, Raising the Light of Golden Atlantis. And Heather is just asking very quickly, just Dave is answering the question. Well, greetings to you all. Thank you very much for joining me on a Friday night. Now, just a early heads up warning that they are having firework displays in my local neighbourhood. So if there are some kind of amazingly loud crashings and bangings and carryings on, and then it's the house isn't falling down and we're not all going to blow up. It is quite literally the firework displays. But so thank you all for coming online tonight. And I'm sure if quite a few people have signed up for this evening. And if you're not joining us live tonight, then hello to those of you that are joining us for the recording, which is equally as powerful because we are all involved energetically as a group. Now, I've been touching quite regularly, as I always do, with the energies of Atlantis. But tonight I wanted to kind of make it specifically about raising the light of Golden Atlantis, or at least in the way that I work and the way that I've been working over the years with my workshops and the one-to-one sessions, and particularly the specific sessions that some of you might remember, called the Crystalline Codes of Atlantis, where we literally connect our energies in a very, very direct form to an era which you will have heard of if you've got any. It doesn't matter if you've got any knowledge of Atlantis or not. If you're here tonight, you're part of the Atlantean show. The way that I see our ascension process is all part of a bigger Atlantean picture, and I'll explain a little bit why. The Zooms that I've done over the last year or so, I mean, we're nearly at the end of the year. Can you believe that? We're nearly at the end of 2019, and it's November. We're heading towards the 11/11 portal. Then we've got the magic of the winter solstice, which is by far, the way I see it, is one of the most powerful downloads of Christ light that you will ever receive during the course of the year. And it takes weeks for us to actually embody this frequency. So it's building up at the moment. We're building energy. A lot of people have asked me to kind of comment or do what I normally do, which is a bit of an energy rundown. And because the frequencies at the moment are incredibly intense, but it's weird in the ways that it's almost like you can't put a finger on why it's so intense, what the intensity is, or what is actually going on energetically around us. The way that I see it is that 2019 has just been such a different kettle of fish. It has been the energies, the frequencies have been so remarkably different from any other years that we've been kind of experiencing this new ascension energy. And all of a sudden we've got a year where action is being taken, instead of us kind of gathering around on screens or in groups together or having private conversations about spirituality. The spirituality that we've been talking about, that we've been implementing, that we've been actually focusing on for all of this period of time, is now actually becoming visible. It's becoming a reality in our reality. Change is occurring, and it ties in with the connections that I want to make tonight. Now, the energies are very, very intense at the moment. Several people have asked me, why am I feeling so frustrated? Why am I feeling so anxious? And this has come up again and again in the Zooms that I've been running particularly over the last 6 months. I think it was July or August, I actually focused on one which specifically called into question light worker anxiety, and this kind of almost like bottled up, pent up feelings of frustration that a lot of us are feeling. And it all boils down to kind of focusing our light and our attention on things that raise our frequency rather than lower them. And of course, this is just becoming more and more intense at the moment. And the short answer to why we feel so frustrated, I mean, you know, I could go on about it all night. It could be a completely separate Zoom, and we could talk about it. We talk hind leg off a donkey about the kind of the way that we are feeling at the moment, but we're concentrating on kind of seriously raising our vibe and connecting to a specific field of energy tonight. So just in short, we are almost, the way I see it, we are almost in a pressure cooker at the moment, or a microwave, where our planet is becoming, the only way to describe it is so bombarded with high frequency energies. Everybody's being forced to shift and change that haven't already willingly stepped onto their kind of open-hearted pathway, or started making the changes that are being required of planet Earth. And everything is becoming to a head. Everything is starting to, it's almost like watch what a pan of water does. If you put it on a low heat, eventually it will boil, and it will keep on boiling if you keep it at that temperature until it evaporates and turns into steam. Effectively, that's what's happening on Earth at the moment. With every time we reach a plateau of energy, we get kind of, it's almost like a little bit of a break. The vibration rises. Say, for the sake of example, you get an event like the one in August, the Lions Gate, where you get a 3-week window of high intensity energy in action. The frequency jumps massively in that period of time, and we kind of play catch up afterwards. Instead of having these kind of extended breaks that we used to, on a daily basis, I am sensing and feeling the frequency rise. And it's almost like it's almost like putting the thumb screws on just very, very, very slightly every day. And the frustration levels that we are feeling, the anger that we're feeling, I'd say probably 90% of it belongs to other people, because they are being almost forced to make energetic shifts that consciously they haven't implemented. And there's changes that we're going to see in society, particularly in the beginnings of 2020 onwards, are going to be very much as a result of, first of all, an incredible planetary alignment that's coming up. There's a massive square or opposition. The astrologers amongst you, if you want to put into the chat what exactly this astrological alignment is, please feel free to do so, because I'm not an astrologer. All I know is what is coming up on a window of energy wise, and at the start of the year onwards, after we've been through the winter solstice, there's a shift that is designed to do a certain job, and it is going to do that certain job. What we're going through at the moment is the energetic preparation. Now, about tonight, Raising the Light of Golden Atlantis, it's I wanted to use that particular title because it is the title of the first ever Atlantean workshop that I myself ran in Glastonbury. The year was 2014, and it was at this time of year that I organised to do it. So it just seemed appropriate that kind of 5 years down the line that I kind of almost honour that stepping into the Atlantean stream of energy by running a Zoom healing session, using that title, focusing on a similar thread of energy and implementing a very, very similar set of energies. Now, some of you may have even attended, I know that quite a few people attended the workshop that I organised to do. The story behind it was, I went to Glastonbury. This is back in the early days. This is when I was first doing public speaking, and I wasn't very confident at it. And I turned up into Glastonbury. It was November. I'd been invited by the people that do the Positive Living group there, and they asked me to talk about ascension, and I did. I turned up and I told everybody what I knew at the time, which was, you know, it was fairly on point. It probably contains a lot of the information that I'm still using now, but on a much more updated level. And I had a brilliant turnout. It was one of these lovely nights where sort of I wasn't expecting, nobody knew who I was or what I was doing at the time. And I had 80 people in the room. And I met a guy called Mark who gave me a crystal. You know, someone gives you a crystal at a talk, like you become chatty. And we were talking outside, and he was very upfront. And he said, "Do you want to run a workshop together?" And I was like, early days, got plenty of time on my hands. Yes, I'd love to run a workshop. When are you thinking of? And he was like, "Oh, it's November now. How about we do one at Christmas time or before Christmas, the week before Christmas?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm game for it." So we hired a room in Glastonbury, and I called this cooperative workshop with him, Raising the Light of Golden Atlantis. And that is exactly what we did. The morning I spent focusing on bringing everybody's energy into a fifth dimensional bandwidth. It wasn't so much, I don't think so much there was a huge focus on Atlantis. The Atlantis was the theme, but what we did is we worked very intensely on people's energies during the morning. Did a lot of 12 chakra exercises. I did a specific meditation that I'd written a long time ago that I haven't done for a long time, which connected people's energies to Golden Atlantis at the time. And at lunchtime, we all went off and we had a break. And it seemed at this particular time, it probably had a lot to do with the energy. It seemed to take quite a lot out of people. There was a lot of emotions coming up in the room. There was a lot of people that were remembering the fall and kind of really being immersed into kind of almost the sorrow that comes with the awakening and the connection with Atlantis. And I was witnessing this, and I was seeing, it's like, you know, this is good. You know, everybody's raising their frequency, the meditations are working. But in the afternoon, we switched themes. And what we did is we turned it into basically a massive healing session, which is when Mark started bringing his sound, his symbology, and his basically his healing prowess into the workshop. And during the afternoon, we healed everything that had come up and brought it. You know, there was a lot of Reiki, there was a lot of crystal healing. And it turned from quite a high-powered energetic space into a gentle healing space. So there was a balance for the day. There's a very kind of divine masculine, let's raise everybody's energies and bring it all to the surface in the morning. And in the afternoon, we calmed and healed, and everybody left kind of in one piece, basically. It was lovely. Now, on the way back from that, I had this, I had the idea of basically running a series of workshops in Glastonbury. I enjoyed it so much, and it was so good. And I was given a title of a workshop, and I was told it was to be called the Crystalline Codes. Now, some of you may know this, some of you may know this story, but this is in December. I was given the title, I put it out on social media, and January came and went, and it was the beginning of February, and the workshop, the first of the workshops, was booked for the 22nd. The 22nd of February. I thought the 222 date would be very appropriate. And I still didn't have any information. I hadn't produced any information for the workshop. I hadn't produced any crystalline codes or anything. And at which point Mark's starting to get a bit uppity about it. So what are we going to do? You've produced nothing. So it was at this point that I first made my true, I'd say my true kind of connection to Atlantean times. And I sat in my kitchen and I spoke to my higher self, and I said, it is absolutely essential that I now retrieve the information that I need for this workshop. And it took about 15 minutes, and very, very slowly, but very surely, I received 13 symbols, and they came through one by one in no particular order. And of course, as I received the symbol, I had to write it down on a piece of paper as best as I could, as good as I could project it. And at the end of this, when I'd finished downloading these symbols, there were 13. I knew they were to do with the chakras. I didn't know which chakras went with which symbol at that particular time. So I basically used my intuition to associate the symbols with the chakras. Of course, there were 13 symbols, which I found confusing at the time, but 2 of them went in the third eye. So I had the 12 symbols and the names. So say for example, the first symbol to do with the stellar gateway was called Sol Ra. And all of them worked down through the 12 chakra system, right down to the Earth star. And they all served, these symbols served to expand and activate the chakra system. Now, this might be quite a common thing for people to do. People are bringing back all sorts of information, all sorts of knowledge at the moment. But this was the part of my journey that really, really connected me to Golden Atlantis. And it happened at a time that I really needed to make that connection as well. Now, the reason why I needed to make this connection was because, due to my interest and due to my connection to Atlantis, for those of you that know my journey, I was a high priest in Golden Atlantis, and this was information that was given to me in 2008 when I kind of went from spiritually awake to kind of turbo spiritually awake. You know, you know that transition from not pathway to, okay, this is what I'm going to be doing. And at that particular time, prior to that, I'd had no real interest in it. I had no real interest in it. So all of a sudden, this was my life. You know, I was on my spiritual pathway. I'm going to be helping people on my. Yeah, they are in print somewhere, actually, Rachel. I'll talk about that in a little bit. All of a sudden, this is becoming my ascension pathway. It's not just the potential spiritual wake up of the planet, and it's the fact that whatever I'm doing was going to be intricately, and I mean intricately, meshed in with Atlantean times, and it became a regular occurrence for me to connect with other Atlanteans in various stages of waking up. It would either be a trigger effect where I would have that trigger on people, people would have that trigger on me, or I'd meet somebody who was already awake and already kind of focused on Atlantis, as many of us already are. But I was noticing a very reoccurring pattern. The reoccurring pattern that I was seeing, that every single Atlantean that I communicated with appeared to be deeply traumatized. And I'm not just talking about 1 or 2 people, I'm talking about every single person that I spoke to, because it all seemed to be that everybody was caught up in the fall of Atlantis. Now, with the last Zoom that we did, with healing the fall of Atlantis, and I explained as to why, when you wake up to this pathway, when you wake up to the magnitude of what Atlantis actually was, the first thing that we appear to remember, or the first place that we appear to be taken to, is the fall of Atlantis. The last Zoom that I did, for those of you that didn't join, was focused on healing the fall of Atlantis, which created a cataclysmic shockwave around the planet that every single living being has stored in their DNA at some level. The trees, the plants, the flowers, the rocks, everything on this planet has got a record of the fall of Atlantis. And all of the Atlanteans that were waking up, and is probably still waking up now, automatically, it's the first port of call, because it only happened 10,000 years ago. It wasn't that long ago. Atlantis sank beneath the waves 10,000 years ago, which on our evolutionary scale is not very long at all. Now, Atlantis was 260,000 years long altogether, from the start of the first experiment to the end when it sank 10,000 years ago. There was 10,000 years setting up at either end. So you've got, that was a 260,000 year period. So for those of you that are connected to Atlantis, that are here because of this connection, you may already have memories, okay? If you've got those memories, that is absolutely fantastic. But they could be anywhere within those those 260,000 years, you might have been incarnated in the first experiment, it might have been the second one, it might have been the fourth, or it might have been the fifth. Now, all of these are spiritually significant because Atlantis rose and fell 5 times. On the fifth and the final time was a period called the Golden Era. Okay, now this, for all intents and purposes, was the actual focal point of Atlantis. It was to create a spiritual environment on a very third dimensional rock. Earth was incredibly, incredibly third dimensional at the time. It wasn't rising in frequency like we are now. It was just Earth. It was third dimensional. And the whole focus of the Atlanteans was to achieve a 5th dimensional frequency and maintain it whilst in a physical body, listening listening to spirit, listening to everything else that's going on, but ultimately being human beings in physical form. And they did it. They did it for 1,500 years. And I think that was an incredible achievement, personally. I think it was probably even more of an achievement than us reaching the frequency globally that we're doing now, simply because we have got an advantage at the moment. At the moment, we are raising our frequency in step with the planet that's raising its frequency very rapidly. We've got all of this incredible energy coming in from the cosmos. We've got the angels, the dragons, the unicorns, the benign extraterrestrials. Everything is funneling every single scrap of focus, energy, and intention onto planet Earth with the intention of ascending it. And we are very, we're well into this. We're well into this process. We're achieving it. And I'd say our frequency is pretty high at the moment. Those of us sharing this space together online tonight, and those of you that will be joining it from the recording, we create a 5th dimensional frequency simply by focusing on this, by being here to raise our frequency, by being here to raise the frequency of the planet. We're here with a mission, okay? And this immediately creates that field of energy. Now, the Atlanteans didn't have this. They had to do it off their own focus, their diligence, but they did it. And they did it for 1,500 years. Peace, harmony, and basically spiritual equilibrium was maintained during that period of time for 1,500 years, and they discovered incredible things. Their technology was off the charts. Okay, it was what we would consider science fiction now. There's records of it in civilizations and in other civilizations that had contact with the Atlanteans towards the end of the era. And their crystal work was just absolutely amazing. The entire continent was run at this particular time on crystals. Okay, crystals were used to communicate with. They were used to store energy, to create light, to create heat, to power transport. And all of this was generated by spiritual connections, by spiritual knowledge, and actually having the attitude of, we are here to create a spiritual environment, and we're going to do it, and we're going to do it with the tools that we have available. And I think they were absolutely incredible. Now, that 1,500 year period is known as the Golden Era, is the era that basically created the blueprint for our ascension process now. Okay, so everything that we are doing on this planet, where we are going with this planet, the future of our societies, the future of the way that we relate to each other, the future of our light, our heat, our power, and all of the technology that we will be implementing on this planet in the future will all come from this Atlantean blueprint. So this is why the two of them tie in so tightly together with each other. Raising the light of golden Atlantis is what we do when we implement this energy within ourselves and take it out into the world. Because what we are doing is we are fortifying a blueprint that exists And it's a powerful blueprint. Okay, it's a powerful blueprint. It's a powerful blueprint of change. To implement this blueprint on this planet, this Atlantean blueprint, means completely changing what exists at the moment. And as we can see, everything is coming to boiling point in the current way that societies are managed together. The medical industries, the way that we teach, and the way that we kind of have the division in kind of like rich and poor and politicians, all of this is being shown some serious light at the moment, and it's all beginning to change. Now, I was hoping at the start of this Zoom that I wouldn't get my my Atlantean throat. Now, whenever I focus on this subject, whenever I talk about it, I always get a bit of issue with my throat check. So I'll just have a quick drink, excuse me. It's a common problem, apparently. There's another story where where Diana Cooper stepped on stage many years ago to speak about Atlantis for the first time, and she completely lost her voice, and she had to basically squeak into a microphone for 2 hours in front of a particularly unforgiving audience, and it must have been extremely challenging. So yeah, there's always a lot of stuff that is contained within our throat chakras, and we'll be covering that in the meditation that we're going to be doing in a little bit. Now, I, as a lot of you were joining this evening, was basically guided to pull out my first ever deck of cards. Now, this is Diana Cooper's deck of cards. I don't know whether you can all see it. It's a Diana Cooper Atlantis card. Now, this is probably one of my oldest, most favourite, and probably not that dog-eared, but the packet is. And I pulled a card for us this evening as a group to be working with. There's 122 of us online. And of course, I was given the Black Mage card. Okay, now this is the Black Mage card. Those of you that are familiar with this card and the deck itself will know what this card means. But for those of you that don't, I will read about it. Okay. Now, the Magi were highly trained shamans, alchemists, and magicians with truly awesome powers. During the Golden Age, they used these skills for the benefit of all, and they were greatly revered. When the Magi decided to use their power for their own enrichment and ego aggrandizement, the frequency of Atlantis spiraled down. Everything on Earth has a natural cycle, as we know. The Golden Age was the pinnacle of light, followed by aeons of darkness, the aeons of darkness being the 10,000 years that we've just spent in 3D. Now it is time to rise once more to a higher frequency. Now, this card indicates the end of a cycle. In this plane of duality, situations and relationships inevitably end, making room for different experiences. It's time to watch your ego and purify yourself so that the new can be better than the old. Now, this, as a card, I mean, this deck has never failed me. If I've ever wanted answers, it's always given me them in one form or another. And that card really encapsulates. You picked that card this morning, did you, Deborah? I'm not surprised. It's because it's high frequency work that we're doing. And so this card just goes hand in hand with the Zooms that I've been running previously about kind of changing the vibration of this planet and removing the control systems that we have on this planet that have existed since the fall of Atlantis. Okay, I'm not going to talk too much about the fall, okay, because the fall is an energy which can really drop your vibration. Okay, if we all sat here tonight explain, like sharing our memories about the fall of Atlantis, we'd all probably leave weeping and feeling quite low frequency. The reason why I want to connect into raising the light of Golden Atlantis and connecting our energy directly into the era of Golden Atlantis is because that was what was given to me to solve the problem of the reoccurring trauma that we were feeling especially as we were kind of identifying on our wake up pathway as past life Atlanteans. Now, when I found out about my life as a high priest in Atlantean times, that was when I started receiving a lot of memories about it. I started receiving specific memories about places. People would trigger me. I'd meet people who were like, wow, I remember you. You will have all had this on your ascension pathway. If you've only just kind of stepped onto your ascension pathway, then you are going to meet people that will trigger. And these soul triggers, they are invited in by our sacral chakras, who are now operating at a higher frequency. And these soul triggers are what wake us up and bring us into, you know, they're effectively our soul family. And so tuning our energies into Golden Atlantis, into that era, basically circumnavigates that bit at the end where Atlantis fell. To cut a long story short, Atlantis was going to fall regardless. There was no contract for Atlantis to continue. It was going to finish at some point, simply because we as a planet had agreed to spend 10,000 years in the third dimension. A lot of the time, like, we can kind of go, why on earth would we do that? Why on earth would we even faintly remotely agree to what we've been through for the last 10,000 years on this planet? It's because we, you know, as a planet, we're going to ascend. We knew we were going to ascend, and to explore the energy of the third dimension in the way that we have done has actually been remarkably effective. We've learned everything, absolutely everything that we need to learn about living in a state of duality. We've learned everything that we need to learn about being completely disconnected from source, living in a restricted, in a restricted format. When Atlantis fell, we went from 12 chakras to 7 chakras, and effectively completely like basically putting the blinkers over us, disconnecting us from source love, reducing the power of our heart, reducing the impact that our throat chakra has on our environment, and just literally restricting us. It's almost like putting, you see in the summertime, you see these horses that have got hoods over their heads to protect them from the flies. That's what I used to feel like, you know, when I was kind of using when I was aware of the fact that there was more out there. I used to feel like I'd a hood on, restrictions on, and all of those restrictions are coming off now as we raise our frequency. We are raising our light and our vibration exponentially at the moment. And so if you've got any questions about anything that I've said, please ping them up in the Zoom group chat. Obviously, if there's anything that I mention, and so I'm just having a look back through. Thank you, Serena, for explaining what the conjunction of Saturn and Pluto at 22 degrees in Capricorn. This has not happened for 500 years. Okay, also the day before January the 11th, there is a full moon eclipse in Cancer and Capricorn hitting this conjunction. It's vast, yeah, and I'm very aware of that. I think we will brace ourselves for this huge change that this is going to bring to the planet. It's going to be amazing. Catherine is asking, are there any particular entities or celestial guides that can help us with this healing? I would say anybody who is working with you at the moment, Catherine. It could be a specific archangel, it could be your dragon, it could be your unicorn, it could be the extraterrestrials. Everybody who is around us at the moment is guiding us to implement this blueprint on the planet, because this is where the shift is. This is where the shift is happening. You know, you heard the term, the shift has hit the fan. Well, it is actually happening now, you know, with the end of this incredible year that we are having at the moment, and this implementation of this Capricorn, the shift in Capricorn in early January. For us, it's brilliant. For us, this is why we've incarnated. It's the whole reason why we've actually come down to this planet is actually starting to, it's entering the stage of fruition. We are beginning to see the end results of what we are actually doing when we raise our own light, when we raise our frequency, we send this wonderful energy of ours out into the world. When we specifically help, when we focus on things like changing the vibration of people, situations, planetary matters that really do matter, all of this has a massive knock-on effect. And Erin is asking, do you have any visuals or drawings of Atlantis, or could you please describe it visually? I'm going to fairly shortly, and we're going to run through a meditation fairly shortly to connect to the Temple of Truth. Okay, now there were 12 major temples in Atlantis. There were major, I say major temples. Okay, now there were, if you went to Atlantis during Atlantean times, and you could probably arrive anywhere within that 260,000 years, you'd be thinking, well, 12 temples, and because they were absolutely everywhere. Okay, if from what I can remember from my memories of it, it would be, if you could honor it, if you could show joy for it, if you were thankful for it, then they built a temple for it. Okay, so it's, say there's many other temples that I've connected to all being shown that existed during Atlantean times. The 12 major ones are the ones that are mentioned in the book that Diana Cooper and I wrote, the second book that we wrote together. And we did kind of struggle with whether to actually include anything about Atlantis in this second book, which is the Archangel Guide to Enlightenment and Mastery, because she'd already written such a comprehensive book in it with Discover Atlantis. And so what more can we add to this? And we realized that she hadn't actually mentioned the actual context of the 12 temples. So I will read them out to you here. And if you've listened to me before, you will have already heard about these. So there was the Temple of Love, and the Temple of Love was connected to Venus, which is the cosmic heart. There's the Temple of Sound, which basically used harmonics for healing, and they married together with the Temple of Healing, which was the next major temple. So the Temple of Sound and the Temple of Healing were originally, they were separate. Now these were two major temples in Golden Atlantis, okay? And when they realized how powerful crystal harmonics became, when healing and sound were put together, then the two of them merged together, and you have the most incredible, heard me talking about it before, it's healing projected through crystals using sound had the ability to change DNA structure, to actually change the kind of the vibrational composition of materials, which is, you could make something very, very light that wasn't light originally. So you got a 2.5 ton block that you wanted to get to the top of a pyramid. Using crystal harmonics, you could turn that huge 2.5 ton block into something that was very, very light, and effectively had the composition of polystyrene. So this was powerful stuff. Like the Atlanteans had incredible technology at their fingertips. And the Temple of Sound and the Temple of Healing were very kind of up there. There was the Temple of the Sun, which was linked to the sun, because the sun is, it's been revered through every single civilization who's looked to the sky, and the Temple of the Sun was used to bring the light of the sun and the cosmos into the Atlanteans' everyday lives. That was a very, very powerful temple. There's a Temple of the Moon, which was run by Isis when she was in physical at this particular time. The Temple of Truth. Now, the Temple of Truth is where we're going to be visiting for our meditation tonight. And I've chosen it because truth is what is coming out all around us at the moment. We've had truth in our personal lives, where many of us have had to stand up as light workers and be who we are. People who are standing up in society and saying, well, this is me, I'm not in a box anymore, and I'm going to be true to myself. But ultimately, truth is what is being told in the media by the politicians, by the people that are controlling the money that flows through our societies, and the social control. Okay, the light of truth is being shown, is being literally blasted into the social control that is all around our planet, and that social control is falling apart. So I thought it a really good idea to visit the Temple of Truth so that we can bring more of this power and more of this light into everyday existence. The more we connect to it, the more of a reality it becomes in our everyday life. So that's where we're going tonight. And we've got the Temple of Truth. And we've got the Temple of the Night, which honoured the as day and night follows each other. A lot of people have kind of always had a fear of the dark. Well, this was to honour the night, and it was a divine feminine. It was a very divine feminine temple, the Temple of the Night. The Temple of the Animals. You know, animals were revered on this planet by the Atlanteans. They realised that they had a soul path, a soul purpose. And so they were given the honor of their own temple, where people would connect to them and show them gratitude and show them love. So, and there's the Temple of Wisdom and Knowledge, which was my temple. That's where I spent more than one incarnation, actually, kind of squirreling away, like lifetimes of wisdom and knowledge for myself and for the ascension process. And I know a lot of other people who have spent time in that particular temple as well. There's a Temple of the One True Light, which was kind of honoured technological advancements, particularly it was linked to Arcturus, it was linked to the Pleiades, Andromedans, Orion, Sirius, everywhere, who was kind of adding to the kind of the lovely pot of technology that the Atlanteans were kind of getting together over the years. The Temple of the Sea, if you've joined me for the previous Zooms, will be one that you're familiar with, because the Temple of the Sea, I called it the Temple of Neptune. That's how I remember it, but the Temple of the Sea was what it was honoured as, and it worked closely with the flowing waters of this planet, because the flowing waters basically carry the Christ light, and they carry the purity that we're going to be using in the fifth dimension. And it said the Atlanteans understood that third dimensional energy formed objects, and the higher frequency energy flowed continuously in the form of liquid light. So that's what the seas represent, that constant movement of energy. It's a very, very high frequency temple. Temple of Nature, you know, it's like if everybody who was ill on this planet at the moment connected with nature and used nature to heal themselves, then all of a sudden we'd all be getting better. Or it's Temple of Nature, Temple of and the healing, again, were very, very linked together. But the energy of the Temple of Nature honoured nature, which is something that mankind has not been doing recently. And again, so it's they understood that being in harmony with nature meant being in harmony as within, so without, and they honoured that very, very highly. And of course, the Temple of Poseidon. The Temple of Poseidon was my first memory after bringing through the crystalline codes. The Temple of Poseidon was the temple that I was taken to, and I was shown that I'd worked in the Temple of Poseidon. The Temple of Poseidon was at the top of a massive hill or mountain. It was called the Cathedral of the Sacred Heights, and it was the first of all of the major temples to be built in Atlantis, and it was also the last place to sink beneath the waves. Now, I have very specific memories of that temple because it was the one that held the amethyst skull of Atlantis. Okay, just talk briefly about the crystal skulls. The amethyst skull of Atlantis was the 13th crystal skull. It was created in the 1,500 year period that we're talking about. We're working with the energy of tonight. Even by talking about it, we are immersed in that field of energy. Okay, we've focused our energy. We're looking at Golden Atlantis. We are in that field of energy. The amethyst skull was created as a master skull to contain the combined wisdom and knowledge of the other 12 skulls of Atlantis that basically were passed between the temples. I believe that the 12 crystal skulls existed within the temples, the 12 major temples. And there is Deborah saying, can I talk a little bit more about the Atla-Ra? Yeah, I'll talk about a little bit about the Atla-Ra, or the Outer, as they were known. Now, the Atla-Ra were effectively the priesthood, okay? And at any one time, there were 12 priests and priestesses who were kind of overseeing the whole Atlantean proceedings, and they were kind of chosen for that particular cycle of priesthood. So there was always 12 people who were kind of overseeing the whole proceedings on the continent. And some people have incarnated repeatedly, but as a different person a little bit longer down the lines. Remember, 260,000 years is a long time, and there was always 12 people in circulation all the way down the line. So some of us might have actually had a lifetime as Atla-Ra in the first experiment, and then again in the fourth. Everything becomes very, very kind of jumbled up. A cycle was as long as a lifetime. Now, our lifetimes would have either been very standard when the energy was third dimensional, or during the golden era, we had learned to extend our incarnations. Our physical bodies weren't aging or basically under the same stresses and strains that they are now. The human body, our human bodies, the ones that we are all connecting with tonight, are designed to live for 300 years, okay? It's simply the way that we are living and almost the subliminal programming of our lifespan that has brought it down to like a maximum of 100 years. Genetically, our bodies can live for 300 years, but the Atlanteans had got it down to a fine art. With the Temple of Healing and the Temple of Sound combined together, they could repair and restore DNA at a level where a life cycle was no longer a life cycle as we know it. It was longer. It was almost like you've heard the saying. I remember Thoth talking about submerging himself in the waters of Amenti. It was this was the healing pool that existed. The waters of Amenti, the waters of Amenti, the river of Amenti flowed or was contained within the Temple of Healing. Now, this was a restoration pool surrounded by crystals. And the vibration of the sound and the crystals and the healing of the water would restore a human body in a very, very short space of time. I don't know whether any of you have seen a film called Elysium. It's one of my favourite movies, and it's a Matt Damon movie, and it's an action movie, and it's about Earth. It's sort of like the blighted planet that we all see in these movies that has basically been completely ravaged by humans. So it's not going to happen here because we're going 5D. Well, this is on a 3D Earth that has been kind of blighted and ravaged by humans. What all the rich people have done is they've built an orbital space station which looks like a massive disc in the sky. So everybody's got money's gone up to this space station in the sky. I love this movie, it's brilliant. And so everybody on the planet is basically dying of whatever they're dying of. And the people who've got the money, who've gone to Elysium, have basically got technology which is exactly like the one that they used to use in Atlantis, which would rearrange the molecular structure of the body and the DNA of the body from unhealed to healed in a matter of seconds. Now, this is what they used to do. This is the technology that they used to have. And of course, when Atlantis sank, that technology had to be taken away from the planet because it would have fallen into the wrong hands. So that's why it happened. take another quick drink. And so, yeah, well, and I've been talking for quite a long time about Atlantis now. I thought you'd like tune into that vibration, tune into that frequency. And we're going to take this visit that I've been talking about, connecting to the Temple of Truth. Okay. I think truth, 2019 was described to me as the year of truth. Okay. The year of truth. And it's happening. There is no more hiding. There's no untruth or dishonest energy can be seen very, very clearly now. It's happened. It's even happened amongst the spirit. You know, like it's happened in spiritual circles. It's happened in politics. If people aren't authentic or genuine, then it's coming out. People are seeing it. Where people can't hide the truth anymore. And so connecting to the Temple of Truth tonight will be it will be an extremely effective way of bringing more of this into, not just into our own lives, but into the planetary matrix where it needs to be. So yeah, just give me a few minutes to keep my voice on par. It always happens when I talk about Atlantis. You probably heard me sort of croaking and squawking before when I've been talking. Yeah, 2020 is going to be woe. I think it is. You know, like when we move into the winter solstice, we are using that as preparation time. But everything that we do is about keeping our light high, our frequency clear, our focus and our manifestation sharp. As within, so without, we will be what we see in the world around us. And we're so powerful now. The effect that we're having is so powerful that it's all happening. It's all happening. You can see it in the news. You can see it. These changes are occurring. There's a lot of very, very negative things going on in the world at the moment, but behind it is the emphasis and the force of change occurring. Okay, behind all of the things that are occurring on this planet is the energy of truth, is the energy of authenticity, is the energies of the fifth dimensional frequencies, creating an incredible amount of change that's occurring. So what I'd like you all to do is, if you've got a crystal at hand, grab a crystal. I've got mine, as always. And yeah, just sit yourselves back, completely relax. And some of you might like to lie down and listen, or just sit where you are. And just tune into my voice. We're going to be taking a trip back to Atlantis now, okay? So relax and close your eyes. I'll just talk a little bit about the Temple of Truth. Now, I've talked about the Temple of Truth in workshops before, but I don't think I've done it online. And the Temple of Truth was, when it was built in Atlantean times, as an actual physical construction, it was made of pure white quartz. And this was to reflect the purity of Archangel Gabriel. Archangel Gabriel, as we know, is the archangel who works with clarity, with purity, with grace, with truth, with integrity. And he worked directly with the Atlanteans to assist them to bring truth and order into their lives. Such was the purity of the Temple of Truth that the chakras of the priests that worked there glowed with an iridescent white light, indicating that they had evolved to the higher levels of the fifth dimension. Or some of you may have already seen this kind of light within your own chakras. I've seen it several times in workshops. Now, truth is the integral core of a spiritual being and raises the vibration. So everything we do is based around truth, okay? This temple brought transparency to everyone in Atlantis and allowed the people living there complete honesty in all they said and everything that they did. So just relax and breathe deeply, okay? We're going to now, with our eyes closed, invoke the presence of Archangel Gabriel, his dragons, diamond dragons. You may see them kind of swirling and flooding around you now. And the beautiful angels of Atlantis. So wherever you are in the world, just allow them to connect with you. Feel the presence of Archangel Gabriel with you by your side in your room. Feel his diamond light, feel his dragons moving around you. And also feel yourself in the company and the presence of angels of Atlantis who were specifically working there during the times of Golden Atlantis. We're also going to invoke now the cosmic diamond violet flame. So just in your heads, ask and invite this energy to now start to flood through you. Feel it lighting you up physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. Feel anything that may have come to the surface being released from your physical body. Just feel your physical body completely relaxing, any tight muscles, any stresses and strains. Just feel cosmic diamond violet flame just releasing and dissolving any lower frequency energies. Feel the cosmic diamond violet flame moving through your emotional body. Feel anything that may have come to the surface while I was talking about the early days of Atlantis just released and dissolved. And the emotional blueprints that may have come to the surface, feel them being released just gently. And feel your emotional state, feel everything within that body just calm and completely relaxed. Feel the cosmic diamond violet flame moving through your mental body. Your mental body controls your thoughts and your perceptions of reality. Feel your mental body aligning with your higher self. Feel high frequency thoughts flooding through you. You're connecting to your higher mind now. And allow the cosmic diamond violet flame to wash through your spiritual fields. So from where you are sat, see it and feel it and consciously will it to move outwards. Your aura extends around you for a very, very wide space. Some of you even have auras that can reach up to 15 miles around you. So just sense and feel and see the violet flame just flooding through that. And just be aware of yourself now, completely purified, lit up, calm, bright, radiating with the violet flame. And we're inviting Archangel Metatron to join us as well. And just be aware of him pouring ascension light now down through your full body system, physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually, increasing our light quotient to 100% for the duration of this meditation. Some of you may perceive his energy as bright golden orange as that floods through you, mixing with the violet flame. And as this light is now mixing and merging with you, bring your attention to your heart center. Take a deep breath in through your nose. Out through your mouth and feel your heart center in the center of your chest, pure white, beginning to expand. Take another breath in. Feel it expanding even further and bring your intention and your inner vision to the center of your heart. With each breath, in breath, and with each out breath, your heart center is becoming larger and larger. It may even be expanding now that it touches the outsides of your shoulders. It is a huge and powerful chakra, pure radiant white. Now state your intention to your heart center to take you back to the times of Golden Atlantis. Just allow a few moments of breathing and relaxing as your heart transports you energetically back to the 1,500 year period of Golden Atlantis. Now, with your eyes closed and your mind's eye, find yourself standing in a field of beautiful, long, lush grass. A stream flows in front of you, and you decide to follow it. The air around you is mild, not too hot and not too cold. And you decide to follow the stream downhill through a beautiful valley. You can see plants and flowers either sides of you. Just take note of what your surroundings look and feel like. You can see hills rising above you on both sides. As you walk down through the valley, you come to a clearing at the bottom. And directly in the centre of this clearing is a magnificent temple built from pure white quartz. And there may be some other materials as well. What shape is this temple to you? How do you remember, or how are you perceiving it? You decide to approach the temple, and as you do so, you are met by a lady dressed in pure white. She smiles at you, but she doesn't say anything, and she indicates that you are to stand under a waterfall of blessed water before you set foot in the temple. So just allow yourself to be immersed in this holy waterfall, this sacred waterfall coming from the stream that you followed. You might sense and feel that the temperature of the water takes your breath away, but you feel instantly purified and your mind feels clear and sharp. Just take a few moments to bathe in these waters and just allow it to wash everything from you that is not of the light. And as you step out, you are handed beautiful white robes to wear. So just place these around you. The white robes may look familiar to you, they may feel comfortable. Just place them upon yourself before you enter the temple. As you step into the Temple of Truth, you are met by a priest and priestess who both smile at you and welcome you to the temple. Take a few moments to just feel the vibration within there. It is the most beautiful, serene, and silent place that you have ever been in. It almost has the vibration of a cave of pure ice. Just take a few moments to absorb this as you are here. Take a look around you. Do you see any symbols on the walls? Do you see anything familiar to you? Just take a few moments to absorb the vibration. The priest and priestess lead you down a corridor into a room with a magnificent crystal that stands in the center of this circular room. Placed upright, it looks as if it is a giant Lemurian crystal, very pure and clear in parts, but opaque in others. And you can see incredible patterns and phantoms and shapes inside. Some of them even look as if they are moving. Quietly and serenely, they invite you to be seated alone with this crystal. So just take a seat in front of the crystal and completely relax. As you do so, you can feel it beginning to shine its incredible light into every facet of your soul, and feel it lighting up parts of you one by one, bit by bit, or you might feel it just shining through every aspect of you simultaneously. You are being asked questions now in etheric. You may hear this as a voice within your head. You may feel it as a vibration or a knowing. These questions are asking you, are you in truth with yourself on your spiritual pathway? Are you in truth with those around you? Do you speak the truth lovingly to others, even if you worry to offend them? What truth do you wish to see in the world around you as the planet wakes up? Just give yourself a few moments to answer these questions to yourself very honestly, or any others that may have come up. And as you are now sat in front of this powerful crystal, the light emanating from it begins to intensify. And it starts to illuminate your 12 chakra system. It's almost like an X-ray vision, and you can see clearly any blockages that you may have within them. Now, starting with the stellar gateway, a meter above the top of your head, the crystal will now help you to connect to or remove anything that is present and hindering you from moving forward on your ascension pathway. So feel the crystal of the Temple of Truth lighting up your stellar gateway. How connected are you to the light of the cosmos? Do you have any blockages within this chakra that are preventing you from receiving the highest of the frequencies that are available at the moment? Just take a few moments for the crystal to shine through your stellar gateway chakra, which is bright radiant gold. If there's anything within that chakra that doesn't belong there, just feel it being gently released and dissolved by the crystal. And now feel the light of the crystal shining through your soul star, which is a chakra just about 1.5 feet above the top of your head. Beautiful magenta, now being lit up by the crystal. Have you connected fully to your gifts? Do you have any blockages connecting to your gifts? Could it be a lack of confidence? Is it that you haven't connected fully to them yet? Or are you consciously connecting to your own master gifts on your ascension pathway? The crystal from the Temple of Truth is now shining through your soul star, lighting up the pathway to the halls of Amenti, where you have your own master gifts and talents. So allow it to clear this pathway for you, open any other doors that may need to be opened, helping you to connect directly to your gifts and talents. As you look down the corridor of your soul star that is being illuminated by the essence of this crystal now, you may see a gift or a symbol or an object that is waiting for you to collect it. This is essential or pertinent for your ascension pathway now. So just take a few moments to see what it is and collect it. Whatever it is, take it with you. Now feel the light of the crystal of the Temple of Truth shining through your causal chakra, which is the beautiful moonlight chakra just above the top of your head. How is your connection to the divine feminine, to the light of the moon, to the unicorns, to the archangels, to all of the other pure white beings of light? If you had any problems connecting with this energy, just allow the crystal to shine through your causal, opening the gateway to the higher realms. Some of you may start to feel unicorn light pouring through your causal chakra at this time, lighting you up. Some of you may experience a downpouring of divine feminine energy coming down from your causal, flooding through you. Just allow the light of the crystal to completely clear and balance your causal. And now the first of the physical chakras, feel it shining through your crown chakra. I mean, you may actually feel this physically. The light of this crystal is very, very powerful. The golden crown on top of your head, feel it being lit up and illuminated. You're being asked the question, are you honouring your own innate master wisdom? This is what the fifth dimensional crown represents. Are you honouring your master truth, the truth that is within your soul, not the truth that somebody else is giving to you, not information that someone else is giving to you, your own master wisdom? Allow the light of the Temple of Truth to open your crown at the highest frequency. For you are your own master and your own guide on this pathway. Now feel the light of the crystal shining through your third eye. Feel the crystal ball being lit up. Feel all the corners of your crystal ball, the chakra just being completely shown the brightest light. Are you seeing the world around you from the highest perspective? Is your focus where it should be? Are you creating for the highest good? Feel any blockages, any fog, anything that may be hindering that chakra from working to its highest frequency. Just feel it literally being evaporated by the intensity of this light now. Some of you may actually feel this quite physically. Just allow the crystal ball to be completely lit up. And be aware of the light of the crystal shining through your throat chakra, which is a royal radiant blue. Now, as the light of the crystal touches your throat, ask yourself the question, do you speak the truth? Do you speak your truth at all times? Do you speak the truth even if your voice shakes? Do you use your voice, your throat chakra, with the highest integrity? Feel the light of the crystal literally blazing through your throat chakra. Feel any Atlantean collars that you may have. Any blockages within the throat chakra being completely and totally dissolved now. Some of us have been working on our Atlantean collars for a considerable period of time now. You'll feel these actually coming to the end of their cycle. You'll feel them being completely removed. Allow that collar to come off. Now is the time. So that you may use your throat chakra for the highest and the most powerful good. Speaking your truth with words of love and wisdom and integrity. Now feel the light of the crystal shining into your heart center. We've already expanded our hearts so that they are open almost from shoulder to shoulder now. So feel the light of the crystal, the temple of the truth crystal, shining into your heart, and ask yourself the question, do you intend to love from the highest aspect that is available to you? When we use our heart centers with intention, it is the most powerful tool that we have. Feel any blockages or any walls or any restrictions within your heart center just being completely melted away at this point in time. And then feel the light shining through your solar plexus, which is a golden chakra, and ask yourself, are you in control of your energies, you personally, or do others still control you? And if there are any energies or any cords or anything that you can perceive in your solar plexus that don't belong to you, just allow them to melt away as we are focusing on this. You might see many cords and attachments. You may see things that you just didn't know existed attached to your solar plexus at this time. The crystal is illuminating a lot. And just feel them just melting away. And feel the light of the crystal shining through your navel, which is a bright orange chakra just above your sacral, just below the solar plexus. Ask yourself the question, do you see the world as one community or divided or torn at this time? And just allow the navel chakra to show you, as you are sat here, the truth of the Atlantean blueprint as it spreads around this planet. View it from a higher perspective. See communities coming together. See people honouring the land, honouring each other, honouring the animals, the trees, the plants. See us all together as one, living in peace and harmony in a fifth dimensional frequency. That is the objective of the Atlantean blueprint. And sense and see the light shining through your sacral chakra, which is a soft rose pink. And ask yourself, have you allowed your soul family to connect to you? And have you learned the lessons of the third dimensional relationships yet? Let's allow the light from the temple of truth to flood through your sacral, removing any 3D patterning that may be holding you in restrictive relationships or anything that may be holding you back from truly meeting your supportive soul family at this time. And just feel your sacral completely balancing and relaxing. And feel it shining its illumined light through your base, which is of liquid platinum. You're being asked the question, are you your higher self? Do you know this yet? Just take a few moments to tune into this. Do you regard yourself as a master? Are you on your pathway as your highest aspect, your highest self? Because this is the truth. You are your higher self. So allow yourself a few moments to connect with the light of this truth. You could even say it in your heads. I am my higher self. I am my higher self. I am my higher self. And then gently move your attention down your legs to your Earth Star and see the light of the crystal shining through the chakra below the soles of your feet. And ask yourself the final question: are you grounded and wanting to be here on this planet with all your heart and all your soul? Okay, do you want to be here? Are you committed? And feel your Earth Star chakra clearing completely and grounding you into your perfect fifth dimensional vibration. Tell your Earth Star the frequency that you wish to vibrate at. Be honest, okay? Bring that energy in now and anchor it into your Earth Star below the soles of your feet. You could hold the vibration that you'd achieved before walking into the temple, the one that we've achieved together here tonight. Anchor that in and ask it to hold it permanently. Just take a few moments to view yourself now shining very, very brightly. It's time to leave the Temple of Truth now, so thank the crystal for shining its brightest light into you. And take this luminosity back with you wherever you go. And as you leave the room, the priest and priestess meet you outside and you bid each other farewell. As you leave the temple, just realize that you can revisit this at any time. You can either take the choice now of changing back into your previous garments, or you may stay in the beautiful white robes that have been presented to you. They will act as a cloak around you energetically, imbued with the vibration of Archangel Gabriel and the Temple of Truth. So bring yourself back now to where you are. Bring your attention back to your pure white heart center and begin to return to your body wherever you are in the world. Okay, just bring yourselves back. Feel yourself coming back from Golden Atlantis, from the Temple of Truth, back into your room, wherever you are. When you are ready, open your eyes. Okay, give you a few moments to orientate yourselves and come back to where we are. And thank you for joining me there. Okay. Right. Just as you're coming round, as you're just bringing yourselves back in and grounding you. And Carly is just saying, I'm not sure if you already told us this, but what is the most effective way of anchoring the light we absorb into us and the earth? We don't have to eat too much chocolate. Anchoring yourself, the most effective way of grounding energy and any energies in is by focusing upon your Earth Star chakra, just grounding yourself in. Just imagine yourself like a lightning rod, and all of that energy and all of that light, ground it into your Earth Star chakra. If you want to, feel the roots spreading out beneath you, below the soles of your feet. Okay. Well, thank you all for joining me. Now, we've only got a very short period of time left. So in the last 5 minutes, what I'm going to talk about is something which has come up very recently. Thank you all. Well, I'm glad you enjoyed it. Oh, bless you. I'm going to talk about, I mentioned it in the advertisement for the Zoom site. I'm going to talk about the pain body. The pain body. I've been working with this myself over the course of our lives in 3D. Okay, the last 10,000 years since the fall of Atlantis. for every single lifetime that we've had, we've kind of generated almost like a composition or a storage within our emotional bodies. And this, and particularly in this lifetime as well, every single time we incarnate in physical, we have experiences. We have good experiences, we have bad experiences. And let's face it, 3D was hard work. Okay, so I was guided, particularly, and Carly will vouch for this as well, Carly Olsen, working directly with an aspect of ourselves called the pain body. Now, this can be, if you're up for it, I put it on Facebook. I put it on Facebook as well the other day. Working with your pain body is a very effective way of releasing all of this stuff that we have accumulated over the years. And I've been shown that it's effective in 52 steps. Okay, now this requires don't worry, Rachel, I'll be bringing some crystals next Sunday, don't worry. I shall have my usual goodie suitcase. What was it? Yeah, the 52 layers of the pain body. It's a 52-day meditation. Okay, it requires a little bit of spiritual discipline. I've had a few days off. I haven't done I'm on day 20 at the moment. I've had a couple of days off, so just simply because I was guided to at the time. Now, the way to do this pain body meditation is to allocate yourself. You commit yourself to it. You are releasing 52 layers of kind of emotional build-up from your emotional body. I've been shown this is a very, very effective way to kind of almost eliminate it's a lot of the emotional triggers that we have and the things that are holding us back, the blockages. But it will do it in a way where we don't actually have to physically go there. You don't have to kind of go to the point of the pain on that particular day and experience it. You are just you just literally meditate with it. Now, the way that I do it is that I clear my chakras. I sit down in the morning after I've had a cup of coffee. I go through my 12 chakras and I make sure that I'm shiny and clear. And then I very specifically enter the Temple of the Sea. Now, we've done the Temple of the Sea meditation in the previous Zoom, one of the previous Zooms. And I literally, myself, if I'm doing it, I sit in front of the aquamarine crystal in the Temple of the Sea. I call forth to the Masters of Neptune, I call forth to the Angels of Atlantis, and I ask them to just hold me in the highest light. And then I invite the most prominent layer of my pain body to step forwards and walk into the crystal. Okay. Now, this can present itself to you in any way. It might be a person that you don't recognize. It might be an energy. It might be an animal. It might be in any way that it presents itself. Just be open to whatever wants to come forwards at this time. And it only takes 5 minutes, but it is a daily commitment. Okay. Or, if you're going to do this, you kind of persist with it, or unless you are guided not to do it. Okay. So I did it for 10 days straight, and then I saw some very odd things. I saw sort of lives that were obviously me in Greek times walking into the crystal. I saw an oxen in another one, just things that basically probably had absolutely no relevance to me in this time whatsoever, but they were stepping forwards out of my pain body. Okay, so this is the commitment, and the whoever or whatever wants to walk into the crystal, you guide them gently into the crystal and they are released. Okay, now I've got the meditation on my Facebook page, my Tim Wild Practical Ascension. So if you want to have a look at it, if you want to have a proper read about what I've written about it, then please do so. Or you can just simply go with what I'm saying here. You meditate in the morning, you take yourself to the Temple of the Sea, you sit in front of the aquamarine crystal, and you allow whatever layer of the first, the second, the third, the fourth, the fifth, and each day might be something different. Okay, but you don't, the most important part about this that I was told is that you don't actually have to physically experience the pain of the actual creation. Okay, so it's a good way to just allow everything that wants to walk out of your bodies and your fields at the moment to do so without any drama, because we've got plenty of drama around us as it is. So this is just us releasing positively, powerfully, and gently, but with constructive commitment. But you've got to do it. You've got to kind of stick with it. And like, you know, I'm naughty with things like that occasionally. Like, oh, I can't do it today. But then again, I'm not going to force myself to do it. And if I'm being guided not to do it, some of you might just go and do it, bang, 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 52 days straight. Or you might be guided to do 13 days or 20 days or 8 days. But I was told kind of like a target date was about 52 days. But anyway, I had a read of what I've put on my Tim Wild Practical Ascension page. And David has been an absolute gem and updated my Tim Wild Practical, my timwild.com website with my current blogs. So you'll find it on my timwild.com as well. So what did Jennifer? Jennifer had some very haggy, broken-looking pain bodies come forward. I had some Rollins come out as well. It's like, oh dear, that wasn't a very fun life, was it? Sort of thing. So, and Dave was saying, if you start 52 days from tomorrow, that would take us exactly to New Year's. Boom! That's some timing, wasn't it? Brilliant. Yeah, start in the morning, everyone. Finish on New Year. That'd be good. So yeah, 52 days, and you can guarantee it's nice and clear. So that's it. Once again, just grab a crystal in the morning, take yourself to the Temple of Neptune, sit before the Masters of Neptune, sit before that beautiful aquamarine crystal, and let your pain body walk into it. You might get rid of the whole lot all at once if you're lucky. You never know. Anyway, I've hopped over time, so I'd just like to thank you all so much for joining me tonight. Thank you. Happy Friday. Hope you all have a lovely weekend and a lovely 11/11 coming up. And I'm going to be in Harrogate next Sunday for a wonderful workshop with Rosemary Stevenson. And so obviously sort of one or two of you on here might actually be coming along to that, but it's that will be my last physical workshop that I'm doing this year. And but there will be more Zooms coming up, so keep your eyes on the site and the Tim Wild Practical Ascension Facebook page. Anyway, lots of love to you all. Love you all lots and lots, and thank you for working with me tonight. And I'll see you all soon. Bye-bye.